Hey everybody, happy to be running you through the Rootstock roadmap for 2024 and 2025 with Adrian Edelman, the Director of Product for Rootstock. This is something that Rootstock Labs is going to be working on in collaboration with the whole Rootstock community, so we're excited to share some of the things coming out this year. Adrian, nice to see you.
Hey, Daniel. Super excited about this.
Okay, very cool. Let's get straight into it. So, early in May, we launched the BitVMX white paper, which is our approach to improve BitVM to optimistically execute arbitrary programs on Bitcoin. This is going to be a long journey, but we hope maybe even later this year or into 2025, we would use BitVMX as a new architecture for building an entirely new bridge to Rootstock. That work has already started. As we move through into July, there's going to be this, we're going to be upgrading access to Rootstock through both bolts and flyover. Do you want to take us through that?
Yeah, sure. So one of our main goals for this year is to simplify the user experience of entering the Rootstock economy. We will see an evolution in that direction throughout the year with different milestones that tackle this particular UX challenge. And what we will see first is integration of the flyover protocol. It will become available to end users. And with the integration of flyover, what users will be capable of doing is basically to get RBTC in a trust minimized way, but in only 1 or 2 Bitcoin confirmations, which is around 10 to 20 minutes. Compared to the what it takes today, which is around 15 hours. And the other exciting milestone is the integration of bolts that you just mentioned, Daniel. And with bolts, users will be able to do swaps, atomic swaps, between Bitcoin mainchain and Rootstock, and also between Bitcoin Lightning and Rootstock. So that also will let users get RBTC super fast and in a very inexpensive way.
Great. And this is part of a theme to improve the accessibility, not just of Rootstock, but by building bridges to other, not just to Bitcoin, but other Bitcoin L2s like Lightning as well. As we move into the next phase of the roadmap, we've got a network upgrade due in October. And there's a really interesting proposal within this, which is to introduce stable minimum gas fees denominated in fiat, not in BTC. Do you want to take us through that and take us through the upgrade in general?
Yeah, so Lovell is the code name for the next Rootstock network upgrade. And the core devs are currently working on some proposals to bring into the community to discuss. And these are mainly related to the PowPeg, the bridge between Bitcoin and Rootstock, to make it more robust. And there are some improvements that we want to propose and that we are actually already working on that are related, as you said, Daniel, to keeping transaction costs on Rootstock low. One of the things that we have seen lately is that with the Bitcoin price going up, also the cost on transacting on Rootstock goes up. And one of these features that we are bringing is the possibility that miners set their minimum gas prices denominated in fiat. So that's would basically keep the minimum prices stable in fiat. So that's one of the most interesting things in Lovell. And as I said, there are some other that I'm quite excited about regarding how to make the PowPeg composition changes more robust. In particular, there is one RSKIP, the RSKIP 419, which is quite interesting, that will basically discard or roll back any PowPeg composition change if it's not considered safe, and together with some other proposals that we will, as I said, will bring to the community to discuss soon.
Very cool. Let's talk about, as we move into Q3 then, that increased access to Rootstock through Lightning. This is the second, we've got the bolts integration happening earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit about what we're trying to achieve with this Lightning integration into the peg in, peg out process?
Yeah, so as you said, bolts will enable Lightning to RBTC swaps. That will be enabled from within the bolts platform. One of the things that we are working on is to have like a single a single place for users to get access to different ways to get into Rootstock, to get in and get out, actually, as I said, in a one single place. That app currently is live, but only lets users go through the native PowPeg. And for this milestone, what we expect is to have this Lightning integration as part of this one single place app that we are building.
I mean, one of the exciting things that's happened on Bitcoin over the last 12 months is the advent of Taproot Assets and the explosion in interest in runes. There's going to be a new native assets bridge that we're launching later in the year. Do you want to just run everybody through what the idea is with this?
Yeah, so one of the most interesting programs run by today by Rootstock Labs is the grants program, which is providing economic support to teams building on Bitcoin and on Rootstock, of course. And some of these grants have already been assigned to teams working on connecting Rootstock to other crypto economies, and in particular, enabling Bitcoin assets to be moved into Rootstock, right? And give these asset holders the possibility of accessing a rich ecosystem of DeFi protocols with their assets. So we expect to see during this year more bridges, as you said, that will let users move their assets into Rootstock. So teams are already working on Taproot Assets bridge with Rootstock, runes, ordinals bridging. So the idea, again, is that when this is completed, users will be able to get into Rootstock with these Bitcoin assets.
Okay, so at the beginning of the roadmap, it's bridging value in and between Rootstock and other L2s, but now we're also going to be bridging new assets into Rootstock as well with the upgraded bridge. As we move into Q4, this is where things start to get really interesting. Snap synchronization, upgraded access with the RBTC Super app, which is something I know the teams have been talking about for a long time, and then parallel transaction execution. These are some of the more ambitious projects that we're working on. Do you want to run us through what they're going to look like?
Yeah. So about SnapSync, very briefly, currently the Rootstock node supports two synchronization methods. The slow and decentralized mechanism that we usually call the long sync, and a fast but centralized mechanism that it's called import sync. The idea with SnapSync or snapshot syncing is that it's decentralized mode that lets node operators to have a fully operational node in only a few hours, probably a couple of hours, by synchronizing the node from a recent state or checkpoint that is provided by other synchronized RSK nodes. With this protocol in place, basically a node operator will be able to have a node fully operational in only a couple of hours, compared to the long sync method that currently takes a few days, 5 or 6 days, right? And in a totally or a trust minimized way. About parallel.
When we talk about this, when we talk about the super app, I guess what I'm particularly interested in, then moving on to the next item here, is this is quite a step forward because we're talking about integrating lots of different ways to access RBTC and get into Rootstock into a single UI.
Yeah.
I think this could be a big experience unlock for the community. Explain some of the thinking around this.
Yeah, so currently there are several ways to get into Rootstock, but they are quite spread, I would say. So the users sometimes struggle a little bit into finding these different flavors of doing a BTC to RBTC conversion. So we want to, as I said before, we want to bring everything into one single place that is very easy to use, or a user will be basically say, okay, I want to go from BTC to Rootstock, from BTC to RBTC. Okay, these are all the different options that you have. And some users will opt to go through the more decentralized ones that are probably cheaper but slower. And some other users will probably prefer to be able to peg in with small values but probably pay a fee for that. So it really depends on the user. So we want to have this place where you basically see all the different options in like one single screen and say, okay, this is the one that I prefer. So that's what we are working on, and we expect to see kind of the final result in this milestone that you share.
Love it. Parallel transaction execution has been something that has been being researched now for some time. It's going to be going live later in the year.
Yeah.
This is a scalability enhancement for Rootstock and allows all sorts of new use cases to flourish on the network. We've been seeing lots of remittance partners recently launching on Rootstock, and it's something we're really excited about. Can you run us through parallel transaction execution and what we've got planned here?
Yeah, so this is quite innovative proposal that, of course, again, this is a consensus change and will need the consent of the community, but we are already running our own experiments before we can explain the benefits to the whole community. But basically, the idea is that, today that blockchains like Rootstock have a sequential model for processing transactions, and that has a goal of maintaining transaction integrity and network consensus. However, there are like more, I would say, clever ways to do it, especially when processing transactions that are not related one to another one. And those could be processed in parallel and leveraging modern multi-core processors. So the idea, without going into too much technical details, is that if you have this joint set of transactions that are not related one to another one, you could process them in parallel, and as a consequence, increase be able to process transaction faster and increasing the overall network TPS, right? The transaction throughput.
Love it. Okay, and then right at the end of the roadmap, some ambitious steps on decentralization, technical decentralization, that is, on the proof of work HSMs, which secure the two-way peg, faster transaction times, SegWit-compatible PowPeg. I'm particularly interested in that one, and then the launch of the BitVMX bridge. Do you want to give us a quick run through on the two different pieces of work we're going to be doing with the PowPeg?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is a big stream of work currently, whereas part of the core devs are working, which ultimate goal is to be able to increase the size of the PowPeg, to have more pegnatories, to have more signatories, and as a consequence, basically improving on decentralization, right? The ultimate goal, as I said, is going from the nine seats limitation we have today to more than 60. So there are several things that you need to do in order to achieve that. And one of the things that one team is working is on what we call the Intel SGX based PoW-HSMs. And why this is important is basically with bringing these alternative device manufacturers. Currently, all the HSMs use a single manufacturer, that is Ledger, which is the safest one. But the idea is that with the Intel SGX, we could let pegnatories run their PoW-HSM setups in a cloud environment, which will drastically simplify the inclusion of new PowPeg members. So and at the same time, having like different manufacturers is good in terms of decentralization. But the big goal of this is to simplify how pegnatories run their setups in order to be able to increase the size of the PowPeg, which is tied to the other one that you mentioned that you're excited about, which is the SegWit-compatible PowPeg. And the idea here is that if we can upgrade PowPeg to a SegWit-compatible PowPeg, we will see mainly two advantages. One is that pegging out, like the peg out transaction, the withdrawals of Bitcoins when you do a payout will become much cheaper than they are today. That's a great thing. But probably the most interesting thing is that as I said before, it will enable us to increase the size of the PowPeg to more than 60 members, right? So those two things are quite related one to another one.
And that really takes the two-way peg to its kind of final destination in terms of technical decentralization at that point. We've really pushed it as far as we possibly can.
Yeah.
Faster transaction confirmation time right now is 30 seconds. proposal to drop it down to 5 seconds using MicroPo, if I'm not mistaken. That's coming in mid Q1 next year. And then late Q1, the BitVMX bridge. This is obviously very early, but do you have an overview of what that would look like?
Yeah, so you mentioned that at the beginning. We are dedicating a lot of efforts into the BitVMX project. You explained that perfectly at the beginning. BitVMX is a framework for executing arbitrary computations in Bitcoin without the need to change the Bitcoin protocol, right? So that's one of the most important things, and it's based on this paradigm pioneered by BitVM. And it's of great interest to the Rootstock community to see this technology evolve, particularly because it will enable a lot of things. But one particular thing that we are excited about is the possibility of building a more decentralized bridge between Bitcoin and Rootstock. As you said, we are have two streams of work now. We are improving the decentralization of the current model, which is the PowPeg model, and at the same time we are researching on BitVMX technologies in order to have, as I said, an evolution of the bridge into one that is even more decentralized. Still early. We have recently published a paper, and we are in early stages of coding. Hopefully by next year, we will see the first version of the BitVMX bridge. But the overall goal and the ultimate goal, I would say, it's, yeah, as I said, the decentralized bridge between Bitcoin and Rootstock.
Love it. Okay, so it's an ambitious roadmap. It's an exciting roadmap. There's lots of good stuff in there, making Rootstock so much better. If you want to provide some feedback on the roadmap, you can head to discord.gg/rootstock. And if you want to provide technical feedback or even provide a feature proposal, you can head over to research.rsk.dev. Thanks, Adrian. Really excited about the year ahead. Good luck to you and the community and all the contributors. Let's do this.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Super excited again, and super ambitious. And well, we will be working on this a lot.
Great. Thanks so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.